It's a play that stuck with me since university, actually, when I went to WAPA in 2007, graduated. Going through all of the Shakespeare plays, it's a no-brainer. I was like, I want to have a go at Othello, especially being, the only, Indigenous fella too in my class, and doing all the monologues, I'm like, oh no, and seeing that Shakespeare actually wrote a black character. So that got me excited, and I was like, oh, one day I have to have a crack at this.
Because Jimmy and I had worked so closely together with his family and with Jimmy's Wagadugum culture, we started to talk about World War II as being a setting for the play. And that seemed a very obvious kind of choice. Once we started working through the play, it became very obvious to us that was where we should set it. And I think it's one of those plays that is problematic for a modern audience because it has racist and misogynist overtones and it has domestic violence. But it is also a play about celebrating progressive people in society. So people who try to progress above what the societal norms are. And there's a lot of joy and love in the piece as well. And it unfortunately goes horribly wrong. The first thing we started talking about was, well, if we're going to do it, there's no point in sort of setting it in Venice or Cyprus because that's not really going to be beneficial to us as a story. So we started thinking about Far North Queensland and World War II. And because we're both from Far North Queensland, we immediately thought, yeah, this place sits in that sort of time and place. And geographically it works really well because, obviously the play starts in Venice. In our version it starts somewhere around Cairns and then travels to the Torres Strait. And in the original play it travels to Cyprus in the Mediterranean. And so all these kind of parallels started linking up, and we decided that we would try and use some cultural language, Kalolagoya, which is the language for the western part of the Torres Strait, and your people's language, and also Yumpla talk, which is the Creole, which is the language between English and the Kalolagoya.
What I really love what Jason's doing with it is really exposing the political side of it, especially, like the race, gender politics, the language, that actually existed at that time in 1942, and making it real. I think it's really lovely just to dive into there, and it's just amazing how it just fits. When we go out, we want the audience members to be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh man, I relate to that. Or I know someone who's going through that. You want them to go at least have an impact, with them to go home, and carry something. And you'll know when they get that as soon as it's true and real here before we share that storytelling. So, I think anyway, that's what I want, just to come in and just experience, I think the realism of our society on stage.
Ultimately, for me, the play is sort of a bit of a roller coaster ride for the audience because it starts as this kind of expansive, amazing sort of world of boats and ships and storms and those sorts of things, and a celebration of culture and two cultures coming together. And there's songs and those sorts of things. And then as the play goes on, it becomes more narrow and more claustrophobic and a bit more like a thriller, a domestic thriller, and then leaning towards horror. So it has a... It's like going up in the roller coaster and going, isn't the view amazing? And then going down very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.